So they disappeared without a trace, just like a magic trick. But unfortunately, in this case, it is real life. Hi, I am Fatima and I welcome you all to Life Unfiltered. Today I'm going to talk about the Pemberton incidents and we're heading to Canada. So on November 17, 2019, a 26-year-old computer science student, Marshal Iwaasa, decided to visit his mother after having a long day of chores in his home in Calgary. He drove from Calgary to Lethbridge for about 2 hours and he arrived at his mother's place. He stayed for a while and he even helped her with her computer, and when it was time for him to leave, he said his goodbyes. At around 11 p.m., he left his mother's house to go to a storage unit where he had to pick up some stuff. And the plan was he would go to the storage unit and then head straight back to school in Calgary. So on 23rd of November 2019, some hikers were walking up a hiking trail when they came to an abrupt stop. So they came across a truck that was burned out. The air around the area was charred, everything, the smoke and everything was there, and they noticed that there were different items spread around the area where the truck was burnt. So they knew this could be a possible scene of crime, so they decided to call in the police. And police arrived at the area, the RCMP arrived at the area, and it was noted that they had an investigation going on straight away. So they noticed that the truck is from Alberta, and upon further investigation they found out that the truck belongs to Marshal Iwaasa. So the thing is, his truck was found in Pemberton, British Columbia. That's about 14 hours away from Lethbridge. So it won't take too long for police to declare Marshal Iwaasa missing. So he was declared missing on the 25th of November 2019. His family were informed that he had gone missing, and that was when they made a shocking discovery that Marshal had actually not been going to school. He stopped going to his classes and even decided not to register for the next semester. They also found that Marshal had stopped paying his phone contract. So with all of these things, it prompted them to try to find out answers as to what is happening or what could have happened to Marshal. So they reached out to the police to try to know if they could be allowed to at least view the things that were found at the discovery site, because a photo surfaced online where you could see that the truck is burnt, and there were some item of there were different items that were spread around the scene. As you can see, there are so many clothing, and it was mentioned that there was a laptop that was smashed, 3 broken phones, a toiletry bag, 2 passports, ID cards, and clothing, a lot of clothing. And there is a red cooler, if you can see from the photo, there is a red cooler there as well. So it is just all over the place. So when the police went to the scene, they found a lot of clues, but then they made mention that the scene could have been tampered with, because here you can see that this is a photo from the hikers, and then the police photo also showed something else. Anyways, let me move on. So when the photo, like I said, came online, a particular family commented in one of the photos saying that not all of the items that were seen in the photo belonged to Marshal, and also even the police made mention of that as well. So apparently, in this case, there is another person that went missing, and there could be a link between his disappearance and that of Marshal Iwaasa. So this particular individual is named Daniel Reoch. So Daniel went missing 3 days after the discovery of Marshal's truck. So now in Squamish, British Columbia, on 25th of November 2019, the same day Marshal's truck was discovered, 29-year-old Daniel Reoch was reportedly seen walking an hour away from where Marshal's truck was found. So it was mentioned that he was acting a bit like strange, and he was walking towards Chikai Ranch, and the rancher saw him with his shirt over his head, and given the fact that the weather is too cold, like the rancher seemed to find the behavior a bit off. So Daniel greeted the rancher and he asked the rancher if he could use his phone. So the rancher gave him the phone and Daniel went on to call his uncle. And when the uncle picked up the call, he went on to say hey uncle, how are you doing? And he started laughing. So the uncle was like, hi, what's going on? And he told him that he's living in a different timeline. And he told the uncle that he loved him. So the uncle from his own end heard the rancher asking for his phone back. So when he took back the phone, he told him that the RCMP are here. So the uncle told him to let them take him and they would figure out what is going on later. So the RCMP took him in custody due to the fact that he was acting strange. So they had him there up until 5 p.m. and then they let him go. So at 6 p.m., Daniel was spotted at Tim Hortons at Progress Way, and at around 6:45 p.m. he went to Walmart. 15 minutes later, he came back to the same Tim Hortons where he got a ride back to Squamish Square where most of his family were living. So later that evening, at around 1 p.m., Daniel's aunt Catherine saw him walking towards Louis Drive. Apparently, she was the last person to see him, and she had made mention that he woke her up from her sleep and he was telling her that he's fighting with a friend of his at the river. So she didn't pay attention to what he was saying because she had noticed that he was high, so she kind of brushed it off. So later, his car was found with his phone in it, and a family member of his decided to inform the RCMP, and they had the car towed away. And no one actually noticed that Daniel was missing up until January 7th of 2020. So let's have a little look into Daniel Reoch's background. So apparently he had a troubled childhood. His mother had him when she was 14, and his father wasn't in the picture, he isn't known. So he went on to live with his mother, and unfortunately his mother was an addict, and everything was rough for both Daniel and his mother. So at some point in time, she wasn't fully staying at home and all of that, and unfortunately she passed away on 25th of December 1999. So Daniel went on to live with his family members, and at some point in time he got married and had kids, but it didn't really work out for him, and he himself is on the path of substance abuse as well. So he later on got divorced and he went back to live with his family. So now what is tying both Marshal and Daniel in this story is a particular cooler that was found at the scene where Marshal's truck was discovered. So apparently this cooler, this red cooler, like this one right here in the photo, is a cooler that had a name on it. There is a name written with a permanent marker that read Cody Lewis. So this Cody Lewis is a family member of Daniel Reoch, And apparently is the same person that actually commented when the photos surfaced online, saying that not all of the items that were seen at the discovery site were Marshall's. So with all of these, like the police still didn't look into the case, and they didn't see it as an evidence to like look more into the matter. So while all of this was happening, Marshal Iwaasa's family were trying to find out answers, like they were trying to understand what could have happened, and they even went on to hire a private investigator because 9 months after the discovery of his truck, finally, like, the firefighters were able to go up there to investigate what could have happened, but unfortunately the result came back inconclusive. As you know, like it was left there, and like the weather and everything, contamination and so on, like it was just left there. Like the police didn't take it as part of like evidence. They only took the like items they saw around the truck. So it came back inconclusive, and like that prompted the Iwaasa family to go on and hire a private investigator. But the investigator went out there and checked out the scene, and he came back with a report that proved an arson could have taken place, which could have led to criminality, because he actually saw a lighter in the car, which seemingly looked like it had been like thrown into the truck. So with all of this, Iwaasa's family decided to set up a petition online, and it started gaining momentum. And when the police saw this, they decided to make a public statement where they still stood their ground, and they went on to say that they didn't have any evidence that showed any act of criminality. And with this, they would still stick to the fact that they are not changing the case to a criminal case, rather they would stick to it being a missing persons case. And with all the like discovery of the PI and so on, everything got dismissed. So now back to Daniel Reoch. The RCMP got an additional lead in this case. So they had an eyewitness who claimed to have seen both the missing persons at a bar in Squamish. This bar was named That Irish Place. So he claimed to have seen them in November of 2019. He went on to say that he saw Marshal, Daniel, and a third party who seemed to have some kind of power over him. They looked stressed and scared, and you know, they were just doing apparently whatever the third party is telling them to do. So the eyewitness is local in the Squamish area, so he kind of like knew the area, and if he see someone new, he would actually know that they are not from that area. So he made mention that he saw them sitting in the truck for quite a while, and he made mention that they actually had their 20 feet away from where he was. And at some point in time, he kind of like stepped out of the bar to like have a smoke, to have a cigarette. And Daniel came up to him and asked for one. So when Daniel came, he the eyewitness, asked him what is up with those two dudes that they've been in that truck for so long. And Daniel went on to tell him, and I quote, "This man is going to kill us," end quote. The eyewitness didn't like pay attention to what Daniel had said, and he kind of like just brushed it off, like that was it. So this eyewitness went on to like give all of this on record, and when he was done, he made mention that the RCMP off record asked him if he knows a guy who went by the name Cody Lewis, and he replied yes, he knew the person, because like I had mentioned, he is a local, so he's familiar with like most of the people that are there basically. So the eyewitness also made mention that few days before Daniel's disappearance, he Daniel, had dropped off his guitar at the bar with the bartender. And after Daniel was reportedly missing, the police came in and took the guitar from the bar. I know this story is a lot, and there are so many questions, there are so many leads, there are so many evidences that could have led to something. For example, the items that were found, I believe that they should have been run for a test just to rule out the chances of like foul play. And I forgot to mention the truck that was found, the steering column was completely removed. It was ripped off from the car, from the truck. So basically, like it was just the truck being burned out without the steering column, which screams something suspicious might have happened. And the fact that the police didn't want to see it as a criminal case is a bit worrying, because I don't think Marshall would just disappear without reaching out to his family. Like, he is loved and he had his family with him. Just doesn't make sense how he would disappear. And in the case of Daniel, I believe that that red cooler that was tying both parties should have been looked further into, just to have a clarity of what could have happened. Even though I know it isn't surprising that the cooler got there, because at some point in time, Daniel was actually staying in one of the Lewis's family, as they were also related to him. It's a family name that runs in the other side of Daniel's family. And also, the witness account where Daniel had made mention that that man is going to kill them should have been taken into consideration as well. And I believe a proper description of who the man was could have given an insight as to probably try to find out who that person is, and if he had anything to do with the disappearance of these two men. He should have been brought in for at least questioning. And I know overall it's just a strange case. I wish they had a criminal investigation to begin with, right from the beginning, but unfortunately it isn't. And I hope and pray that wherever Marshal Iwaasa and Daniel Reoch are, they are safe, and I hope and pray they return back to their families soon. As I am recording this, their case is still open as a missing persons case. So hopefully, we hope they return home safely. So this brings me to the end of this awful story of the disappearance of two people mentioned in this story, the Pemberton incident. I would love to know your thoughts and comments on this one. This is a very confusing story, and a lot had happened. There were so many evidences that could have been used, but unfortunately, they were just kept with the police. So please do subscribe, comment, and share with your loved ones, and I'll see you on my next one. Bye!